Hi guys, I hope every one of you is having a lovely night at the beach. I enjoyed the sunset. It's a beautiful day. I thank the Lord for the breath of life, and so I come here for meditation, and I just finished my meditation. Sometimes I do yoga here. As you can hear the birds of the air, the crickets, the ocean, the trees, you know. It's just a very nice environment when you want to be alone and when you want to think things over. Sometimes when you want to detox. So this is where I come. So the reason I'm doing this video is because I want to speak about depression, because I've seen lately so many young people are dying of depression, and sometimes I think it's the societal pressures. And I remember 2 years ago I lost my friend. My friend went to America 11 years ago, and he had a very huge burden, and this is something that goes on to many African families. Like this is something I'm speaking about because it's something I grew up seeing. I've seen in clans where if one child is doing well, then he has to take care of everybody, or she has to take care of everybody else. And sometimes this can be draining because you also have a life of your own, and you also have things that you want to do for yourself. So as for my friend, he came from a very poor family, and they were very happy when he went to America. And you know, like when you're living in the diaspora, everybody thinks that, wow, now this one has a lot of money. They don't get to think about the challenges that you face in a foreign country. You also have a life of your own, and sometimes these pressures are the reason why many young people now are dying of depression. So in the case of my friend, he was taking care of his sisters. He had to pay school fees for them. He had to take care of his sick mother. There's his dad. He had to pay bills. He had to move them into a better house, you know. And it reached a point, and because we used to share a lot, and I would tell him, why don't you just build a house, and probably they can move in that house, and then maybe you're going to be able to start building yourself. And he told me that was a very, very good idea. And when he suggested that to his dad, the dad was like, no, don't build here in our up country. He's from Murang'a County. And the dad suggested that they buy a piece of land somewhere in Nairobi. I think it was Ruiru or Juja. I can't remember properly where it was. And when he bought the land, and his dad suggested that now he starts sending money to build the house, and he started doing that, and he was sending the money. And because we used to talk a lot, he would send me the pictures of the house, and it was a beautiful 6-bedroom house. And when the house was almost complete, he was like, okay, now I need to come back home. And he was not coming like completely. He was just coming to set up the house and go back to America. He had told me that he will just go back, work for 2 more years, make enough money, enough capital to come and start up something now that he had built a beautiful house. And when he was coming, he did his shopping for the house, everything there. He shipped everything, and then he told me that he wanted to surprise his parents because of what they did for him, you know. And he came back, and when he came back, it was a surprise. And what he realized is that they were living in the same old house he had left them in. Nothing had changed. And he was kind of disappointed, and he called me. And I was like, are you for sure? But you've been sending me pictures of the house. He said, no, I keep telling my dad to take me to the house. He's like, every day he has a new story. But this week I have to insist. And then he insisted, and eventually the dad sat him down and told him that they've been having a lot of problems. So the money he's been sending, his dad has been using it on the upkeep of the family and everything. And he sort of like started drinking a lot, and sometimes he will just call me when he's drunk and he's crying. And I had sent one of my friends to go and see him, and now sometimes I wish that I went home to be with him, but I didn't have that chance. And I thought he was gonna get help, because I suggested how he's gonna get help, because he was so frustrated. Every time he would call me, he was crying and telling me, Sasha, I wish they knew the kind of life I've been living in America. I've been doing 3 jobs to be able to build this house, and I wish that they helped themselves instead of just using the money, and they are not changing their lives, and they have drained me completely, you know. And I told him, because of the way he was calling and the way he was crying, I said, you need help. because I could feel like he was falling into a depression and everything. And he promised me that he was gonna find help, you know. And as we were talking, I was telling him, this is something that really bores me, and it happens so much with African families, because I've seen it happening a lot. Sometimes they can drain you. And this is something that I say, when you're trying to help someone, it's very difficult to help someone walk who only wants to crawl. Because now my friend was saying, I just wish they used that money to build themselves. They are still living in the same lifestyle I left them living in. And I feel bad, Sasha, because when I went to the village to drink, I heard that my dad is like a king. He's the one who buys everyone alcohol there, you know, like everyone praises him and all that. And he's always like, when he's drunk, my son is in America, la la la. Come on now. How can you do that to your son? How can you do that to your son? And I kept on checking on him. I would call him like almost every other day. And then I remember like 2 days before I received a call from his parents. He told me that, I called him, and then he said, I just need some time alone. And I feel sorry that I never thought that he was gonna commit suicide. And 2 days later, his parents called me and they found him outside a tree, outside their house. He had committed suicide. He had hanged himself. And I just want to talk to parents out there. You know, life is tough out there, and the economies of the world have changed. It's not like when I was a child and one person would go abroad and save the whole village. It's not like that anymore. And anyway, even if it was, I prefer like starting a business for someone than sending them money every month. Little money that will never change their lives, you know. And these are the kinds of people that are pushing people so hard. And then there's the social media. People want to keep up. People want to look sleek. And I thank God I don't like that life, you know. I don't like that sleek life, like, you know, like you're keeping up, you have to compete with this or that person. These are the reasons why many young people are killing themselves today. And I would say some parents also, they let their children down. I saw one lady from Nigeria. She was talking on Facebook. She was on a stream live, and she was screaming, and she was saying all sorts of things, and she was saying what she's been going through in Germany and how her family has been draining her and how they expect her to do everything for her, that she doesn't even have a life of her own. And I would like to urge parents out there, stop pressurizing your kids. And at least when they send you money, try to make that money. I remember I had a friend, and her ex-boyfriend used to give her an example. And I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not trying to brag, but he would tell my ex-boyfriend that you're lucky, at least if you gave Sasha 40 shillings, you know it's going to come back when it's 80 shillings. But for her, if I give her money, she just wants to go and buy nice clothes, or today she wants to eat this and that. You need to do something with what your children are trying to do. At least if they're sending you some money every end month, try and start a small business. You know, even the Bible says, if you're not working, you're not supposed to be eating. You're not supposed to be eating. You know, even there's a story, I can't remember the prodigal, when Jesus gave the story of the prodigal son. You remember? You remember the story of when, I can't remember it's which verse in the Bible, but there were people who were given, like, let's say we are all given $100, and then me, I go and put my $100 until my boss comes back and I give him back the money. But the other two, they went and did something with that money, and when the boss came back, they had a profit and they were promoted. And that's the way life is supposed to be. Stop draining others. Stop draining others. People are not picking money from trees. Just because someone is not living in the country they were born in doesn't mean that they go somewhere and pluck money from the trees. They are working. They are being frustrated. If you've never been employed, you don't know. Sometimes you have bosses. They come every day. They bring you down. They insult you. Then you're sending money to someone who's not even working. And instead of them thinking of how they can improve their lives with that money. They are just wasting that money. And sometimes, you know, when you're living away from home, you will be helping some people, and when you go home, you find they actually have a better life than you, but they are draining you, and every time they call you, they always have those sad stories. They have had sad stories to get money out of you. It is wrong. It is wrong, and that is why this continent will never grow. Because also, look at the churches right now. You take the little money that you have, you take that money to a pastor because you want to be prayed for so that you get more money. You are not gonna get more money. You need to go and work. You need to go and work, and once you work, that's when you're going to get more money. You're not, I call that laziness. That is laziness. That is laziness. This continent is lazy. I'm sorry to say so, and I'm going to offend some people. And I don't care whose shoulders I'm going to rub the wrong way, but the truth has to be told. Stop draining people who are living abroad. Stop draining them. You don't know the kind of shit they go through. You don't even know. In some countries, they are not even accepted, you know. You know, there are some countries where people are so racist. You can imagine they are going through all that, and then they work so hard. They send that money back home, and you just decide to misuse that money. You force them to kill themselves. Come on now. I thought I should speak about this, and I think I'll be doing small videos about the kind of things that I see going wrong in our what is it called, in our environment, in our society. I will be speaking soon about religion. People sometimes insult me because I tell the truth. Don't tell me that you're buying your pastor a private jet, while the village where you came from, people can't even access clean water. Come on now. Common sense, Africa.